Hey, it's Owen from NTR Audio, and this week we're going to do a shootout of ribbon microphones. Now there's three types of microphones. We've got our condenser microphones, we've got our dynamic microphones, and we've got our ribbon microphones. Now the ribbon and the dynamic microphone are moving coil magnetic microphones. Very similar, but the ribbon microphone has a small piece of metal suspended between magnets, picking up signals, turning them into an electric current, which is turning into sound. Now it's not a definitive test. We've kind of grabbed everything we have around the studio and stuff from our personal collections and put them on a vocalist to see how they sound. First up today, I'll show you the RCA 77D that we're going to be using. This is a 50s microphone and it's quite a famous one. It's got quite a pedigree as far as mics go and is still a studio favourite. One thing I should mention about the RCA 77D is it actually has a changeable polar pattern where all these other ones are in fixed figure 8. I usually record with this in unidirectional, which is just out the front because there's a weird nautilus shaped shell system in the back. But today we're going to switch it to bidirectional, so it's just like the other ones. Now after these were manufactured, probably from 40s, 50s through to the 70s, ribbon mics kind of went out of fashion. The condensers were taking over, people wanted a crisper sound, and it wasn't until the late 90s where RØDE came up with their R121 microphone, which kind of began the love affair again with ribbon microphones in the audio industry. And from here, some newer microphones have also been created. We have the RØDE NTR, which is an active ribbon microphone, meaning it is electrically powered by phantom power and is a little more sensitive than some of our older microphones. And lastly, we have the Audio-Technica AT 4081. And we're going to put these up on Manning Patston, who's come in to sing one of his original songs today through each of the mics, and we're going to see how they all sound. Now, ribbon microphones famously need a lot of gain to work, except for the modern active ones which need phantom power. You also need a very high impedance preamp to get the best out of them. We're using a Phoenix Audio DRS8, which has an impedance of about 10,000 ohms, which will help these ribbon mics sound as good as possible.
Satellite receiver, can you read me back your signals? I need to know. No. If the space that's in between us, the space that's in between us is gonna grow. Satellite receiver, can you read me back your signals? I need to know. No. If the space that's in between us, the space that's in between us is gonna grow. Satellite receiver, can you read me back your signals? I need to know. No. If the space that's in between us, the space that's in between us is gonna grow. Satellite receiver, can you read me back your signals? I need to know. No. If the space that's in between us, the space that's in between us is gonna grow. I was chasing around with my tail on the ground, and the crumbs that I found must have led me into your wings. Into your beautiful wings. So I got on a plane to forget my name, and I turned my head and I stared at the evening rain. The evening rain.
Alright, first up we had the RØDE. Now it was a very good sounding mic. It's quite neutral, so it doesn't have a huge personality. These are really great on guitar cabs, and I wouldn't usually string them up on a vocalist, but I think for the shootout purposes today, it sounded good. Alright, next up we had the Audio-Technica AT 4081. It is active, so it's very sensitive, and this is the kind of thing I'd usually use on the overhead on a drum kit, not necessarily on vocals, but did an alright job. I tend to use this as an overhead on drums because it doesn't pick up the cymbals too much. It kind of rounds off the top end in a nice way, which means they're never too harsh. We had the RØDE NTR ribbon, which is also a very modern ribbon active microphone, which when he first sang into it, I thought we might have a winner. It is quite neutral sounding for a ribbon, I thought, and quite sensitive, not quite as sensitive as the Audio-Technica. And lastly, we have the RCA 77D, and I thought this might have lost out to some of the other mics today, but it is my favorite. It is a very smooth sounding mic. It has a very particular tone to it, which I think suits vocalists really, really well. And I also kind of like using it on drum kits and all sorts of other pieces. I guess I probably did come in with a bias on this mic. It just looks so pretty, and I'm very used to using it on vocalists and in many recording situations. Well, you know, that's the way these things work. We can listen back to the audio again and make our own conclusions.